that Joe Biden is saying that he supports Vice President Kamala Harris.
I want my daughter to grow up seeing a woman lead our country and know that her possibilities are limited.
Believe in freedom and opportunity and justice, not for some, but for all.
When Kamala Harris chose Freedom as her campaign song, it sent a powerful message. The song, performed by Beyoncé, is a rallying cry for justice and equality. But why this song? Some say it's simply because of its empowering message, while others believe there's a hidden agenda. Could it be that Harris is trying to tap into Beyoncé's massive fan base to boost her campaign? Or is there something more sinister at play?
Believe in freedom and opportunity and justice, not for some, but for all.
Freedom is more than just a song. As a whole body of work, Lemonade has been celebrated as an instant classic, a game-changing collection of songs and visuals that function as an examination of personal plight and societal injustice, where revenge songs about infidelity sit next to displays of support for Black Lives Matter. Omisake Tinsley, academic and author of Beyoncé in Formation, Remixing Black Feminism, says Beyoncé has performed Freedom in particular in ways that have made it clear it is a political song. She performed it at Coachella. It segued into Lift Every Voice, the Black national anthem, she says. It was used by activists ahead of the 2016 presidential election, and in 2020, it was taken up by activists again. In the wake of the George Floyd killing, it's a song of hope. It's a song of uplift. Kenitra D. Brooks, who wrote The Lemonade Reader, explains that Beyoncé's album, Lemonade, mainly talks about a partner's cheating, but is really about Beyoncé learning to love herself, finding her own identity, and dealing with everything that comes with that. Brooks says that the song Freedom is crucial because it highlights that freedom isn't something you get for free. Whether it's personal freedom or political freedom, you have to fight for it, and it is achievable. She points to lyrics like, "I break chains all by myself, won't let my freedom rot in hell. Hey, I'ma keep running cause a winner don't quit on themselves," to illustrate this idea. In the latter part of Lemonade, the song Freedom includes samples from field recordings by John and Alan Lomax. These recordings capture the folk spirituals of Southern Black churches and the work songs of Black prisoners from the 1950s and 1940s. Brooks sees this as a kind of inheritance. She says it's important that Beyoncé uses the rhythms and foundations of spirituals in a song called Freedom, because it ties into a long tradition of Black Americans creating new ideas about freedom. The song also features Kendrick Lamar, a top rapper who recently released the Numb Dollar one hit Not Like Us during his feud with Drake. Brooks mentions that Lamar has the energy of a winner. Tinsley agrees, saying that these winners that Kamala Harris is invoking in her campaign use their music and voices to encourage people to take a Black woman seriously. Beyoncé and Kendrick Lamar are both powerful voices that convey that message effectively. Brooks adds that Harris is tapping into their energy for her campaign, aiming to connect with young people. But is it just a coincidence, or is there a deeper connection between Harris and Beyoncé?
I want my daughter to grow up seeing a woman lead our country and know that her possibilities are limited.
Beyoncé and Jay Z are not just global superstars, they are also influential political donors. Reports suggest that they have poured substantial amounts of money into Kamala Harris's campaign. But why? What do they stand to gain from supporting her? Some speculate that it's about maintaining their influence in the political sphere, while others believe there are darker motives at play. According to campaign finance reports, the Carters have made significant contributions to Harris's campaign. This financial support could be a way to ensure that their interests are protected and their influence remains strong. But could there be more to it? Could it be that Beyoncé and Jay Z are seeking favors in return? The connection between Kamala Harris and powerful figures like Beyoncé and Jay Z also raises questions about the broader network of influence in politics. Just the other day, Jay Z's close friend Diddy was publicly accused by several women, including Cassie Ventura, of allegedly SAing them. This led many to start questioning Jay Z's integrity and whether he was also involved in Diddy's shady dealings. This recent endorsement has fueled rumors about the lengths these celebrities might go to secure political allies. In any case, Kamala Harris released her first official presidential campaign ad on Thursday, featuring the mugshot of her Republican rival, Donald Trump. "In this election, we each face a question," the vice president says in a voiceover as Beyoncé's song Freedom plays. "What kind of country do we want to live in? There are some people who think we should be a country of chaos, of fear, of hate," she says over images of Trump and his running mate, JD Vance. "But us? We choose something different. We choose freedom," Harris says in the ad, her first since announcing her bid for the Democratic nomination. "The freedom not just to get by, but get ahead. The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom to make decisions about your own body. We choose a future where no child lives in poverty," Harris continues, "where we all can afford health care, where no one is above the law." That last sentence is accompanied by Trump's mugshot taken at the Fulton County Jail last August in connection with his Georgia election interference case, along with headlines about his more recent conviction on 34 felony counts in relation to a hush money payment made to P-star Stormy Daniels. "We believe in the promise of America, and we are ready to fight for it," Harris says in her ad, "because when we fight, we win. So join us." Trump is separately exploiting the mugshot in support of his own campaign, using it on merchandise including mugs, bumper stickers, and koozies bearing the slogan, "Never Surrender." He's also monetized the photo by giving pieces of the suit he wore when it was taken to people who bought 47 of his Trump mugshot edition non-fungible tokens, NFTs, which cost $99 each. Despite all this, not many black celebrities have endorsed Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris's historic rise to become the first black and South Asian woman vice president of the United States is a milestone that many celebrate. However, her past as a prosecutor is a contentious topic, especially within the black community, which has faced numerous injustices from the police and judicial system. Harris's career as a prosecutor has raised questions about whether she can effectively address the concerns of black Americans. Kamala Harris began her career in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, then became the District Attorney of San Francisco in 2003.
As many of you know, before I was elected as Vice President, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor.
During her tenure, she championed several tough-on-crime policies that she believed would reduce crime rates and enhance public safety. However, these policies have been criticized for their disproportionate impact on black and marginalized communities. One of the most criticized aspects of Harris's career as district attorney was her aggressive stance on truancy. Harris introduced a policy that prosecuted parents of chronically truant children, arguing that regular school attendance was crucial for a child's future success. While the intention behind the policy was to ensure children stayed in school, it resulted in punitive measures against families, many of whom were struggling with systemic issues such as poverty, racism, and lack of access to resources. Critics argue that instead of addressing the root causes of truancy, this policy further criminalized already vulnerable families. Harris also faced criticism for her support of California's three strikes law, which mandated life sentences for individuals convicted of 3 serious offenses. Critics argue that this law disproportionately affected Black and Latino communities, leading to mass incarceration and breaking up families. The perception that Harris supported such a harsh policy has lingered, fueling skepticism about her commitment to criminal justice reform. As Attorney General of California, Harris continued to implement policies that drew criticism from civil rights advocates. Her tenure from 2011 to 2017 included decisions and policies that, while intended to uphold the law, often resulted in adverse outcomes for Black communities. Despite increasing public outcry against police brutality and the need for reform, Harris was perceived as not doing enough to address these issues. She faced criticism for not supporting statewide initiatives to mandate body cameras for police officers or to appoint special prosecutors to investigate police shootings. Another controversial stance was her office's fight to preserve the state's right to use prison labor, arguing that it was necessary for maintaining the state's workforce. This stance drew significant backlash as it was seen as perpetuating a system that exploited incarcerated individuals, many of whom were Black. Critics saw this as an endorsement of modern-day slavery, further deepening distrust among those who had already suffered under the criminal justice system. The Black community has experienced systemic injustices from the police and judicial system for generations. Harris's record as a prosecutor is seen by many as part of this system, raising doubts about her ability to champion the changes needed to address these deep-seated issues. There is a significant trust deficit between the Black community and Kamala Harris due to her prosecutorial past. Many view her policies as having contributed to the mass incarceration and criminalization of Black individuals, rather than addressing the root causes of crime such as poverty and lack of education. Kamala Harris's personal life has also been a subject of controversy. For starters, there have been claims that Harris got her start by having an affair with a married man, California politician Willie Brown.
Well, every time that someone tried to interject the truth about Kamala, which is that she slept her way to the top. It's a fact. She was with a 6-year-old man, got her start in the political career, and they would go, oh my gosh, how dare you say this? That's so sexist. Well, then suddenly...
Brown, who at the time was Speaker of the California Assembly, and Harris dated when she was a prosecutor in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office. The relationship began in 1994 and ended sometime the next year. According to reports, Brown was separated from his wife at the time he and Harris dated. As Speaker, Brown doled out patronage positions to political allies, including Harris, who was named to 2 board positions that paid lucrative salaries. She was making the equivalent of $130,000 a year by today's money for meeting twice a month for these medical boards and another position for what she had 0 qualifications, Kelly noted on her Sirius XM show. He was trying to lay the road for her political career. Kelly noted that Brown admitted that he's the one who helped her win the role as DA, and she was sleeping with him. Additionally, her marriage to Douglas Emhoff, a white man, has led to discussions about her commitment to Black communities. In fact, one person commented on this saying, Kamala Harris isn't Black and nothing about her is Black culture. Black people have been duped again. Black women, isn't she married to a white man and white Indian kids? But a lot of Black women secretly wish they were in her position, racially ambiguous, married to a white guy # Black vote. Some people see Kamala Harris as a transitional figure or a stepping stone on the path to a more prominent leadership role, believing that she is not the best choice for president compared to others who might be better suited for the role. One of those people is T.K. Kirkland.
What I consider the substitute teacher, the teacher that's going to come in and milk this for a minute until we get the right candidate to put in office.
You see, when Kamala Harris was sworn in as the Vice President of the United States on January 20th, 2021, it marked many firsts. Not only did she become the first woman to ever take on the second highest office in the land, but as a child of Jamaican and Indian immigrants, she was also the first Black and first South Asian American to do so. And now, after receiving a 2024 Democratic nominee endorsement by President Biden, who announced his decision to drop out of the presidential race on July 21st, Harris is once again in line to make history as the first Black and Asian American woman ever to lead a major party ticket. However, a significant part of the African American community has refused to recognize her standing as one of them. On that, one ex-user who posted a video of her saying she's an American, as opposed to an African American, wrote, "This is video proof for those of y'all who keep calling Kamala Harris a Black woman. She is not." In her book, she says, "I consider myself an American, a proud daughter of immigrants, and a proud Indian American, not a Black woman."
How do I describe myself? I describe myself as a proud American.
Another user wrote, "Remember when? And if you don't actually remember when, just lie and the progressive media will cover for you." Dr. Umar Johnson, a well-known psychologist and social critic, is also among those who have been vocal about his disapproval of Kamala Harris running for president. In a recent interview, he articulated his concerns and criticisms of her political record and stance on racial issues, drawing parallels to former President Barack Obama.
Just like Barack Obama, they do what they need to do to stay close to the white power.
He accused Harris of having a track record of incarcerating Black people, stating she made a career locking up Black people. He also criticized her for downplaying the reality of racism in America. This is the same woman who went on international television and said America is not a racist country, Johnson emphasized, highlighting the dissonance between her statement and the experiences of many Black Americans. One of Johnson's main issues with Harris is her perceived lack of identification with the Black community. He argued that her mixed-race heritage is not the problem. Rather, it is her failure to advocate for Black people. My issue ain't her being mixed race. My issue with her is not identifying with her people, he explained. Johnson recounted an interview where Harris allegedly stated that laws specifically benefiting Black people could not be passed, questioning why similar laws were enacted for other minority groups. Johnson pointed out what he sees as inconsistencies in Harris's policy positions, particularly her support for legislation benefiting specific ethnic and social groups. He questioned, if the Democratic Party can't do anything just for Black people, why did y'all pass a law only for Asians, only for Native Americans, only for transgenders, only for LGBTQ, only for immigrants? Johnson argued that these actions contradict Harris's claims and demonstrate a lack of commitment to the Black community. Another Black celebrity who does not feel confident in Kamala's leadership is Boosie. In a 2021 interview, rapper Boosie Badazz shared his candid thoughts on Kamala Harris, whom he referred to as Camilla. His remarks were a mix of admiration and skepticism, reflecting his complex view on her role as vice president. Boosie began by expressing his unconventional pronunciation of Harris's name.
I think it's pronounced Kamala Harris.
Well, I call her Camilla.
Camilla?
Yeah.
You just gonna run with that?
Yeah, when I call somebody something, that's what makes me...
What was really surprising was that former President Obama didn't endorse Kamala Harris. He hasn't said a word about her, even in his recent tribute to President Biden, which he posted on Medium after he decided to step down. In his post, Obama wrote, "Joe Biden has been one of America's most consequential presidents, as well as a dear friend and partner to me." He went on to say that he chose Biden as his running mate in 2008 because he wanted someone older and experienced with gray in his hair and no future presidential ambitions. Obama also mentioned, "We will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead. But I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges." The fact that Obama didn't mention Harris at all led many to speculate that he might be hoping for an open race for the position. Another person who has been wary of Kamala Harris taking the presidential candidate position is comedian Cat Williams. According to Cat, the Kamala Harris we all seem to know may not be the entire story of the present vice president. Of course, Harris has been in the public eye for years, even before making her way into the White House. What Kat seems to be saying is that climbing those hoops to the position she currently sits in isn't the success story it might appear to be. Not only has Harris been reported to have been involved with certain powerful figures to smoothen her political ambitions, but she's also been reported to have been a ruthless attorney. All of this might not be news to anyone who's been following the political details of the country, but the part Kat has and is still hammering on is that Harris might not be the picture-perfect, straight-arrow politician she poses to be. However, Kat's warnings are not exactly for the broad scope of Americans, as his comments have proven that his views on Harris are more streamlined to how they affect Black people, and just like he's warned us about names like Diddy and T.D. Jakes, who all have controversial cases in the media, it seems Harris might not be too far off. Call him crazy, call him a druggie, but the one thing no one has still been able to call Cat Williams since he started telling on powerful people is a liar.
We had the cat.
This is sad. We've never been here before. We've never been at the point where neither option is good for us in real life.
No.
This is a different conversation.
Over the past couple of hours, the fate of Americans has changed, with people having mixed views about the updates. Well, just like many of the other surprises that have come with this year, the update about Kamala Harris may be the latest addition. Granted, almost every political candidate with aspirations to the most powerful positions in the country probably has their fair share of controversies in the media. I mean, Donald Trump, the presidential candidate, is no stranger to the tabloids. However, while Trump seems to have embraced his controversial nature, Cat Williams seems to believe Kamala Harris has dedicated an unusual amount of resources into hiding that part of her life. And to the comic, that might be a bad omen. Nonetheless, there's still a staggering amount of information available about Harris that aligns with Kat's views of her. In case you're not aware, Vice President Kamala Harris just inherited President Joe Biden's $96 million campaign war chest.
Have the first public statement from Vice President Kamala Harris in the aftermath of President Biden dropping out of the 2020
2024 race. She says that she was honored to have received President Biden's endorsement.
The Biden-Harris campaign on Sunday formally amended filings with the Federal Election Commission to rename its principal committee and declare Kamala Harris a candidate for president. The move means that should she remain on the ticket for the general election, according to the Campaign Legal Center, Harris could assume control of the Biden-Harris campaign account, which, again, had nearly $96 million cash in hand at the end of June. Specifically because Biden and Harris share a campaign committee, the vice president and her running mate can continue using the campaign's existing funds for the general election if she is on the Democratic ticket as either the presidential or vice presidential nominee, Trevor Potter, founder and president of Campaign Legal Center, said in a statement. The reports came after U.S. President Joe Biden's withdrawal from the 2024 presidential race, which left Democrats grappling with unanswered questions about the way forward, less than 4 months before Election Day. Biden stepped aside on Sunday after weeks of pressure from fellow Democrats following a disastrous debate performance against former President Donald Trump in June. According to Cat Williams, this may not be good news. See, Williams has brought up the vice president's name in a few of his routines over the years, and in most of them, his claims are usually premised on how he doesn't believe Harris is a real black woman.
That's how you can tell the vice president is a real black woman. You don't see her nowhere. She ain't at the mall, at the club, nothing. She in her room.
You see, when Kamala Harris was sworn in as the Vice President of the United States on January 20th, 2021, it marked many firsts. Not only did she become the first woman to ever take on the second highest office in the land, but as a child of Jamaican and Indian immigrants, she was also the first Black and first South Asian American to do so. And now, after receiving a 2024 Democratic nominee endorsement by President Biden, who announced his decision to drop out of the presidential race on July 21st, Harris is once again in line to make history as the first Black and Asian American woman ever to lead a major party ticket. However, a significant part of the African American community has refused to recognize her standing as one of them.
Kamala has played a part, just like Joe Biden, in persecuting and putting African American people in jail by the droves.
Another Black voter said, all in all, Kamala Harris remains a polarizing figure. Her career and personal choices have, as she continues to campaign for presidency, only time will tell if Harris can bridge the gap and unite the community. One thing is certain, the conversations and debates about her impact are far from over. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.